In this video, we're going to be learning how to use a hex editor or hexadecimal editor. So by the end of this video, you should be able to use a hex editor to analyze data. Hex editors are useful when examining data at the binary level. So binary level here means zeros and ones, and this is how your computer stores data. So when a suspect or criminal hides data in terms of binary numbers, hex editors are very effective in somehow locating that hidden information. There are various hex editors out there, both open source and free, and also commercial hex editors, and we'll be looking into a product called Hex Workshop in this video, and through our use of Hex Workshop, hopefully you'll get a better understanding of how hex editors work and understand these various features that come with these hex editors out there. Some of the essential hex editor features include ability to open big files or local drives. A lot of times you have to open an entire local, either physical or logical drives using your hex editor. In that case, if your hex editor is not able to handle the size of your drive and crashes, that could present a big problem. Another one is the ability to write changes. So in some cases you have to manipulate a file or an image by making changes, and those changes could reveal some hidden data. So this ability to make the changes and store the changes back into the file or images is essential. Another ability is to search, especially by sectors, and also this ability to shift bits is important because, again, by shifting the bits you may be able to reveal some hidden data. And then finally, this ability to compare is also important, and there are also a lot of other features that are important found in hex editors. So I told you about the importance of this ability to load your local drive or big image files. Some of these local drives, they're pretty big, very easily dozens of gigs or even terabytes. So the ability to handle these big size drives is critical, especially if your hex editor crashes whenever you load your local drive, which is relatively big. Then it will be very difficult to work with such a hex editor. So actually, to load your local drive, just click on this icon here, and then you see the drive letters representing your local drives. And in this case, I have my USB drive plugged into my computer, and the drive letter for the USB drive is actually E, so that's what I'm going to be loading. So I click on OK. One thing to note here is that when I clicked on that icon, I had an option, physical disks or logical drives. So we'll be discussing this a little bit in the next section of this video. As you can see here, physical disks typically refer to physical drives attached to your computer. So these include your physical hard drive or USB drive that are hooked up to your computer. Logical drives refer to the partitions. So even if you have one physical drive, if that physical drive has 3 partitions, then they will show up as 3 different drives on your computer and also on Hex Workshop. So that's really the difference between physical disks and logical drives. You can also open a file in Hex Workshop. So click on File and then click on Open. And in this case, I'm going to open a file in my USB drive. So I'll click on Removable Disk and I'll just open one of the PowerPoint slides. I just click on Open, and as you can see, I just opened an individual file. And every time I open a new drive or file, as you can see, it creates a new tab in Hex Workshop. So I can still go back to my previous screen that shows the whole drive, or I can go back to my new screen where it shows an individual file opened. You can also do a search, which is a very important feature, by clicking on this binocular icon, and as you can see, the new dialog box shows up, and you can do a text search. You can also do a search by hex values. So there are many options you can use. Finally, let's take a look at how data is represented in Hex Workshop. As you can see, each digit is a hex number. You can see the two hex digits are grouped together, for example 50 or 4B, and the reason why there are two hex digits grouped together is to represent one byte, which is 8 bits. So basically, each byte in your file or drive is represented using two hex digits. So that's pretty much the smallest unit showing up in your hex editor, and each of those bytes is labeled using also hex numbers. So for example, in the very beginning, the position is represented as hex digit 0, and then all the way up to F, because you have 16 different kinds of hex digits in a hex number system.